you ever just been ready for this to be over with? I think I'd much rather be this guy somewhere overseas riding one of these, just chilling. Thanks for checking out my video. Like and subscribe. First, I want to say I know this next subject is going to be a tough conversation. Check it out. See what you think. Good morning, YouTube. Hey, I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking about some things. Stuff hit my head. I thought we should go over this. I think it's a pretty wild topic. Okay, not wild, maybe a little controversial. The passport bros idea, and what all that entails. How did we get here? What are we doing? How did it come to this point? Why is there even such a thing as a passport bro? I'm going to go over a few topics in this specific area. Why are people leaving their own country, searching out something different? It's not always about the premise of finding love or whatever, but I think a big factor in this is that is trying to find something different than what they're used to. It's so, if it's okay to say this, the water's so stagnated these days with westernized women, women in the West. It's really a hard topic to talk about. It's not good to talk about any of this with, even family members or especially any woman, and a lot of time men back home in the country that you may be in, if you're a westernized country. The idea of this passport bros escaping the West and headed for the most part to the East, specifically Southeast Asia and the Philippines and things like that. Why are they doing this? What's the drive behind this? And I believe the main drive for this is the toxicity of the environments that they're in, pertaining to women, the dating pool that's there in their own country, the U.S., Canada, whatever it may be. And I've never been to Europe, but I know a few people, a few European men, and it seems, it's all the same. It's just, the best way to describe it is it's toxic. It's mostly, in my opinion, man haters, and it's everything, it seems, it's just turned against the man, and what I would call a good man, a decent man, and I keep in mind, I didn't say a perfect man, I just said a decent man, a good working, a good providing, a hard-working individual. These are not seen as good traits anymore. These a hard-working, masculine man, um, a provider. These are, these are not seen as good traits, or these are not seen as good things for the most part. And keep in mind, this doesn't include every woman in every country that's Western country, a westernized country. It's not every one of them. I'm just saying that a good majority of younger uh, female population in these countries are, I don't cuss, but boss bees. I mean, that's the best way I can say it. The B word. That's what they call themselves. That's what they think of themselves as. And these are very dominating, controlling for the most part. I do everything. I'm in charge of everything. It's from what I was used to, from what I grew up in. This is a complete flip from what, not one, I'm used to, and two, I would want. A man's supposed to be masculine to some extent. He's got to have some, best way I can put it, he's got to have a little manhood about himself. Next of all, he's got to want to be a provider. He's got to want to be somebody that takes charge and leads his family, or him and his wife, or whatever. Those were things that women loved years and years ago. And today that's looked and frowned upon as, that's not good. You're a bad person for being that way. And I'm sorry, that just sucks. Everything about what real men are, in my opinion, has turned to be some kind of a god-awful, bad thing. And I'm like, how did this ever happen? Women want some sissy-footed man to lead them, or a sissy-footed man just to be there with them. I mean, I can't even say they want them to lead, because they don't want somebody that leads. Oh, God, no. Don't try to do that. They want a man that's just, in my opinion, and I'm just going to be blunt, they want a man they can just sleep with, and that's it. And it's when they want it and how they want it. Or whatever. That's all they want. That's it. And now there is a caveat to this. They are fine, for the most part, with the old structure to some extent, if you are and I'm going to call it top of the echelon man, and I mean you're a multi-millionaire. I'm not even going to say millionaires fall in this. They want a top tier man. And God knows they're not a top tier woman. They don't even understand what makes in a top tier woman. They definitely got it figured out on what they believe a top tier man is. They don't even understand, one, how to get a man like that, because if they could, they would have had him. There wouldn't be so many divorces. Two, they would have him. If they knew what it was and what top tier is. And yes, okay, top tier in their head is multi-millionaire, extremely good looking, over 6 foot tall, not heavy, not fat, muscular, works out, this and that. And I'm sorry, that's not, first of all, to find a man over 6 foot, I'm going to look these stats up, and I'm going to put them back in this video. I'm going to get all these stats for this. But do you really think the majority of the population of men in the world is over 6 foot? I think not. Now think about this. How many are multimillionaires? I think there's a lot? I think not. So for the majority of, and I'm going to say for a lack of a better word, an average man, they're under 6 foot. They're not multimillionaires. They ain't, well, if you're the boss B, we're the boss men. They ain't boss men. They're an average Joe. They're what they would say is just an average or below average. And that, for me, that is okay. I don't mind. Look at me. I'm sitting here. Look, I ain't shaved in I don't know how long. I don't care. It's all right. So I understand. I'm not that top tier man that they look for. I understand that. I am below average, if ever there was a below average. I'm above 6 foot. That's all I got going. I'm 6'4", I think now. 6'4", I believe. So I say now because I believe when you get fat, you shrink a little. But anyhow, I'm rambling. Let me go. Come on, let me go back to this because this is an interesting topic. Okay, I'm going through the internet. Okay, and I start running across all these videos and shorts and stuff like this, and it's about passport bros and looking for love outside of the westernized culture, and it intrigued me, and I've seen these for quite a while now. And so I decided I'm going to put my 2 cents in. Or maybe not a whole lot of my 2 cents. I'm just going to kind of go over it. What are your thoughts? What do you think? And, put it down there. Put them in the comments. Talk to me. Tell me what your thoughts are. Have you ever heard of this? Passport Bros? If you have, what are your thoughts? Why is this becoming such a big trend these days? And if it's nothing serious, why is it so big now? Why? It's an interesting idea. Men are turning away from their own countries because they can't find a quote-unquote traditional woman. That's not a bad thing. To be a traditional woman is not a bad thing. Not in my opinion. To search out life for a lifelong partner who believes in full life from marriage to death. Partnership. And that's the key, is partnership. I understand that. And again, I'm a 3-time divorced man. I've only ever been married to Western women from the United States. And I'm not saying at all it's their fault. I'm saying we had, for some reason, ideas that did not mesh. For whatever reason, whatever the problems were, they did not work. And a lot of them, I'll accept blame for everything. I had the majority of the problem and the fault. But I will say this. They were Western women. They were what they considered boss bees. They were bosses. Two of them were not that way when I met them. Not that way when I married them. But they darn sure ended up that way at the end of the divorce, at the end of the marriage and the divorce. But that's all. As far as the relationship, that's as far as I'm going to go into it. I'm not going to say this or that. I had my own faults. I understand that. I know that. But in all honesty, every one of those marriages that I was in, every single one of them went from a traditional relationship, traditional woman, to I don't need you. I can do this better by myself. There's got to be something better out there. Kind of women. I mean, that's basically what it went to. I can do better than you. So, bye-bye. You know, I can handle my own house. I can run my own house. I can provide for my own self. Which is funny because every time a woman divorces a man, she tries to go after his money, and nothing was no different than me. They did exactly the same thing with me. They tried to go after my money, and here I lose half of everything I've built, and then 3 times starting over. You build yourself back up, and now you got to go right back through this again. And you lose. I lost, pretty much lost everything, and you have to start all over again. But anyhow, that is what it is off of that subject. As far as me, ain't no sense of talking about my personal stuff. Okay. Why do men do this? Why do they become a passport bro? Or why do they even consider love outside of their normal, American or European or westernized country? Why do they seek love outside of that? Why do they seek just a different... There's some of them that just buy and they just move. They're gone. They don't want a part of it. They don't want a part of this toxic nation that it's turned to. And who knows if it's ever going to try to somewhat even try to come back. And I can only speak of the United States because that's where I'm at. Who knows if it ever goes back. I would hope that maybe one day that people would get some common sense and start training their women back up right. And that's the best way I can put it, is train them up or raise them right or raise them in the old ways. And that's the easiest thing I can say. And, I understand my vernacular may not be, or the words that I choose may not be comforting to some folks. And I'm sorry about that. I am who I am. It's just what it is. Westernized women have scarred me to the bone. And I'm not the only one. Other good men are exactly the same way, in the exact same position. They feel exactly the same way. I'm going to talk more about this. Hey, thanks for checking out part 1 of this video. Hopefully we'll have a part 2 for too long. Don't forget, like and subscribe. See you on the next one.